Hello, name's Leon. I'm here to show you guys some stuff about logix. If you want to learn how to use like the logix tip, I definitely recommend you watch the videos that they have on the Neos YouTube channel as well as Probable Prime. He gives some pretty good tips on how to use these various tips to do these various different things, which I'm about to show you now. So right now, this is basically going to be like concepts, like grasping like what these nodes do and what they represent and stuff like that. So these ones right here are variables, with the exception of this one. I don't know much about these. I believe they're called references. So they're like objects of sorts, but we'll get to that. So these all represent a different data type that you can manipulate and use for your purposes, whatever they may be. So float, that'll just give you a number that is able to have a decimal point. So if you wanted like 1.5, you would go for float, or there are other various ones, but float is one of the more efficient ones if you don't need it to be like super duper accurate. So this is like the generalized go-to for anything that needs a decimal. Integer is the same in the sense that it cannot have decimals. So they're kind of the same but different. So integers can be any number that is positive or negative, so long as it's not having of a decimal. Of course, these all have ranges and limits. Like you can't just put as many zeros as you'd like. It will cap out at some point. But for the general user that wants to just like do small things, yeah, no, these are going to be fine for what you need to use. The Boolean is one of the more important ones, in my opinion. This will have either a true or a false, and you know, I mean, it's everybody's heard about it in computer lingo, zeros and ones, you know, true or false. But there's a lot of power in having a single thing affect a series of events based on whether or not it's true or false. And we'll see that here with these nodes. You'll hear these nodes being called the conditional nodes. Their proper terminology in like program land or whatever, it's the ternary. Ternary? I don't know. But basically what this does is it takes a Boolean, right? And we can kind of just plug one in here. It takes a Boolean and it will give us an output based on that Boolean. So this is a float type. The way you can identify is generally with the color. So floats are light blue, integers are green. There's a bunch of them. You can kind of see all the different types of data that we have that you can manipulate and use these variables for. And of course, this data isn't always contained within these nodes and variables. There's like a bunch of different ways to manipulate data. But that'll be for another one. We're just trying to understand the concept of like what data is, how can we use it to do the things that we want to do. And it's a lot more simpler than people make it. So we've got on true and on false. Pretty simple, right? Like, so this value, I'm going to change it to 5, right? And then let's try this value. Let's change it to, I don't know, 2. And you can already see it's updated, right? Because this Boolean is false, and this is the on false. So this is why they call it a conditional node, by the way. This is basically saying on this condition of this being true or false, I will output this or that. And that's very nice because you can make things like, say, go back and forth. You know, you'll have an initial state and then a state in which it like goes from point A to point B, and then back from point B to point A. And we'll do an example of this soon. I haven't worked it out yet, but I'll show you an example of this. Something super simple. We'll only use this node in like a box or something. We'll just move it from 2 different points. But yeah, one thing to note too is when you pull out nodes, this is why I have 2 of them, you don't have to use the color associated with the node. And this is super important because if you don't understand that you can plug information into these nodes, then you won't consider them. Like, let's say you wanted to do string in this, and you were like, ah, shoot, it only uses flow. Like, no, that's actually incorrect. You can use this ternary node with all of these, actually. And yes, even Boolean. It is pretty funny. You can use this to flip the Boolean. Nerd moment here, right? So it's true, and then on true, output false. So yeah, but the point is that like if I wanted this to be a string, I can just put a string in there and it'll automatically convert. So whenever you have a node that you're wondering if like a type will be, you know, applicable for it, just try plugging it in and see what you get. So yeah, let's do the example thing. Let's make a box mover, something. I don't know. All my variables are axis aligned, by the way. I will have you know, Prime. Axis aligned, very important. I know. Except for this one. This one's not axis aligned. Points to you if you noticed that. Okay, let's make this box move. By the way, that intro, completely logix. Probably aside from like the music. I don't have music in here in Neos right now. I don't really feel comfortable doing the timing and stuff like that. I might come up with like an intro later, but here, check it out. Yeah, so as you can see, this is just me pressing. I'm changing a Boolean from true to false, and we're back. Hello. So this is kind of like my little studio setup, my makeshift 5-minute studio setup, in case anybody's wondering. So we'll make a cube with a shape tip. Again, if you need to know how to use these tools or learn how I'm doing any of these smaller things, I'll try and make videos. Do comment. Let me know if you want anything else, by the way. I will try to go over as much as I can, as much as I know, at least, in this casual format. I'm not going to be very absolute. There's a lot I don't know, but the things that I do know, I feel like are very helpful for other people, and I kind of want people to learn as I'm learning as well. And a lot of people have programming languages that they know, and they're programmers for their daily jobs. They just need to know how to use logix. That's also what I'm trying to gear it towards too. Like, this is what this node does. Use it, please. Thank you. Okay. Cube. We make cube. Ready? Whoosh. So what I mean by that is if I make it go up on the y-axis, we could change the position here. I'll make it go up by 0.01. Okay, see, it kind of moved up a little bit. Maybe 0.05. Yeah, a little more. 0.1. Oh, getting higher. There you go. See? Cool. That's neat, right? But like, I want to do this like without having to type the numbers in, and I want to do it as a reaction of something. Okay. So the one thing that I'm going to want to do is I'm going to want it to start here and go somewhere else. So how do I do that? I manipulate the position. So let me go ahead and pull out my dev tooltip. We'll get our logix menu. We'll go ahead and go to operators, the little ternary node here, and we'll get it on our little dev tooltip, spawn one out, flatten it out because we're OCD a little bit. And yeah, so remember how I said that like this doesn't just take just this type, right? So we're gonna go ahead and pull this guy's position out. And again, if you're confused as to how I'm doing this, please look up some videos. I'll try to link some videos for at least the beginner stuff. I believe the Neos team did something. I think they taught you like how to use the tool. Business Lawyer has some good videos too, but I also am going to be putting out a video for like tips and tricks basically. So for the new user who just wants to like get into programming, you know. So so yeah, we've got all of our information here, and we've got the position, which is what we want to manipulate. So to convert this, I'm just gonna kind of zap that in there, and now it's a float 3-3. Okay, so now we can put this back into the position here, and now the position is being driven. which is more terminology you probably do not understand, but will when I make future videos on driven and writing values and stuff like that. But for now, we're keeping it simple. We're only using this node to manipulate the position to go from one point to the next. Just keep that in mind. So let's say we wanted it to go up. Okay, well, if you know a little bit about 3D land, up in Neos is Y. I believe up in other programs is normally Z. So now we have it going from 0, 0, 0 to 0, 0, 0, which is not very helpful, right? Not very helpful at all. So we want it to go up. Okay, so when it's on true, I want it to go up 0.5. Oh, let's go 0.2, right? So it's on false, which means that's 0, 0, 0 right now. I'll go ahead and pull this out so we can kind of see what the actual output is. So this is our output. Well, actually, here, let me point this towards the camera, huh? I don't know what I'm doing. There we go. Yeah. Okay, so now when we pulse this, or when we change this from true to, or false to true, it will go up by 0.5 if it accepted out of sight touch. There we go. Cool, right? Like, that's a lot of programming that you would have had to do otherwise. I'm just saying, like, that's that's kind of a lot of hassle. And you can even get fancy with it, right? You can go into actually, let me go into this node menu. You can go over into the little math section, get some smooth blurb, right? And we can stick that on here. This is also something you probably don't know about, but I just like things moving smoothly, so I'm going to show you the smooth lerp node, the magic of logix. Oh. See how it goes up and down? So that's what I did with the camera, actually, for the beginning. I showed you a little intro earlier. There you go. Okay, so this is how you use the ternary node. You can use it in so many more complex ways, or you can use it in the very simple ways. Up to you. It's very hard to come up with like a wide range of like use cases for these things, but I hope that this sparks your imagination and that any projects that you have will become a little bit easier because of this. So my name's Leon Clement. I like to create stuff on Neos, and I hope this video helped. Goodbye. That's my outro. Okay, goodbye. Goodbye. Good.